Hi, I'm Todd Cook. Welcome back to the kitchen for another episode of Polymer E-Club's Ask the Cook. We're here to talk about polymers and polymer application. We help you answer the question, what do you need to know to add polymer skills to your career? In light of the many voices saying adverse things about polymers as useful and sustainable materials, the word recycling gets thrown around a lot and abused by some. Here to Ask the Cook, we share information about polymers. So our role in this debate is to provide accurate language and information about these important technical matters. Now, recycling is the process, at least in my mind, of taking a material after it has served its useful life in a product, taking it back to the beginning, grinding it up, reusing it in a new product to displace new material that would otherwise have to be added. Now, if this happens in an industrial setting, and it's very common for the runner systems and in injection molding and the edge trim and extrusion to be reground inside of the industrial process. That really doesn't offset that much new material. It's called post-industrial recycling, and it's practiced consistently and pretty much everywhere with very few restrictions. I know of a few industries that require 100% virgin material in every shot and every part, but not too many. So it's very commonly practiced to do industrial type recycling. But the big advantage in thermoplastics is that you can regrind and recycle these materials, and they can be used perhaps over and over, right? So we really need to do what we can to improve recycling. So that means making sure that we understand our materials well and try to look at the legal restrictions, because there are some legal restrictions at reusing materials in their own application. It always has made me wonder, you know, if you restrict these things legally, then they won't be able to be done, and good practices cannot be developed. So it basically restricts innovation in the very area that we're intending to have that innovation. Let's take a polymer like PET. Polyethylene terephthalate is very commonly used in packaging materials. It's the resin that's in a 2-liter bottle, right? So this is a material that's very common in packaging use and easily recycled. But if you think about it, grinding the polymer up into a handleable solid, not powder necessarily, but just break it up into chunks so that it can be fed to extruders and other types of equipment. The physical recycling is not highly practiced. You basically have restrictions on those kinds of things, so it's difficult to do that. What happens in actual practice is that PET is used in a lower level application, not in the same application for which it was originally manufactured. And that's really not the best in recycling. So what we'd like to see is that material be reused at a higher level. But what's happening instead is that people are selling the idea of the process of depolymerization of the polymer, returning it to its monomeric form, basically turning it back into raw materials that can be used to make more polymer. That's a lot more of the energy that could be saved is having to be put back into the material to do that. And the main reason for that is regulatory restrictions, not safety issues, not properties, but regulations. So it's one of those things. If you're into the polymers, you got to think about what the purpose of doing all these things to create these materials with these outstanding properties, and then to basically regulate them out of being able to demonstrate those properties seems like counterproductive. So that's the kind of thing we'd like to avoid. You might consider a colleague of mine, Chris DeArmond, who wrote a book called The Plastic Paradox. He's available on Amazon. He also sells it on his own website. You can follow a link in the description to learn more about that book. But anyway, if you're a policymaker, you might want to read this book, because he points out all the various things that polymers can do that are not being taken advantage of. And that's something that we'd like to do. Basically, knowing how polymers work and that they can be recycled, that's working knowledge. That's the kind of information we share here at our community at Polymer E-Club Ask the Cook. Now don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and even share if you appreciate the content. You can follow a link in the description also to learn more about Polymer E-Club and our community and how you can get involved. I'm Todd Cook for Polymer E-Club Ask the Cook. Thanks for watching.